All right, so John is not going to be with us. John had that other meeting, which he told us about.
Oh, that's right.
Can't make, so part of our agenda will be to talk about that.
Did he tell you when will work for him moving forward?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Okay, great.
So that's on the agenda.
Okay, great.
All right, for those here, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome to our special second Tuesday of the month board meeting. Take care of some of the regular business that we're going forward with. The first item on the agenda is our biosolids RFP. If you remember, we put this biosolids RFP out several months ago.
Yep.
We had absolutely no respondents, so we
Even
did,
the one that we knew about?
even the one we knew about,
Oh,
zero respondents. So we followed up with the ones that we know about,
yeah.
and they said, we didn't know about it.
Okay,
So
great.
they said, please let us know if you do it again.
Oh.
Now, this is important, so what I'd like to do is reintroduce the biosolids RFP, to put that back out to bid again. The ones that we know about will be on contact to be able to get this and be pointed to where to get this, but there's additional importance to wanting to do this. As part of the water treatment plant upgrade project, right, we're going to be adding additional footage onto the building.
Oh, you
Onto
really?
that, yes,
Oh.
onto that side,
Okay.
right? And so there's going to be like an annex onto the building that's going to go out to where the bags, out to the area where the bags are. So we need to get those bags out of there.
For
Right.
multiple reasons, yeah.
What?
For multiple reasons.
Yes, right, for multiple reasons. Number one, we want to get rid of the biosolids that we have there.
Yeah.
And number two, moving forward with the project, it would be advantageous to be able to
Yeah.
have that space back available. Now, the building will not be in that space, but it's going to be approaching that space, so it makes it cumbersome to work on.
And
So,
just want to clarify for the public, we're talking about the river sludge biosolids, not the
wastewater.
not wastewater.
Yeah, I said water treatment plant.
I know, I just wanted to make sure that's clear
Yeah.
for everyone.
And these are the biosolids that we removed from the lagoon, right? This is the output of our processing process, okay?
It's basically the output of Hudson River water that we're not putting in our drinking water, that we're filtering out of our drinking water.
Filtering out.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion to put the biosolids RFP out to bid again. Do I have a second?
We need to revise the due date.
We do.
What do we need, a month?
Like about
Yes, I
page
want
7.
30 days from today.
So February 23rd?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
amendment to the motion?
Amendment to the motion would be to make the contract for 30 days.
Okay, to change the bid due date to 4 PM Tuesday, November 21st to,
4 PM, February 23rd, which is probably a Saturday.
that's like,
Oh, great. 4 PM, Friday, February 23rd.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I like it when RFPs come in on a Friday.
Any other changes?
Weirdly feeds my OCD. No.
they
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so
can
done.
actually award it on the
All
27th.
right. Lydia, I'm going to turn this over to you for the building planning and zoning financial policy. Just an FYI, I started this process and then turned it over to the building planning who created a draft. And what we're trying to do is get better documentation within the building planning and zoning department in terms of how we can collect fees, when we can return fees, etc.
So basically, I mean, this is just a process policy. Oh, well, there's a few documents. The cash handling is a process document. But what we were discovering is that there were some ways the building planning and zoning office was handling payments
Yes.
into the office that was inconsistent with appropriate cash handling.
Good.
Good financial management. So we have a new policy in place where all money received by the Building and Planning and Zoning Office is deposited the same day. And if an applicant wants to withdraw their application or otherwise stop the process with the office, then there's a refund process that they have to go to. But that's how it needs to be. That's how it needs to be.
Quite honestly, we were sitting on money that was sitting there and we were doing work.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it wasn't that, it wasn't necessarily that, it was just like, can I give this to you, can I give you the check, and then when I decide that I actually want to do this, will you then deposit the check? And it's like, no, if you're gonna give us a check, we're not gonna sit on the check until you actually make a decision, so.
and then there's a request for refund form.
Right, so then there's also a request for refund form.
Yeah.
All of these policies and forms have been reviewed by me ad nauseum, as well as a couple passes through the lawyers, so. And it works for them, so it should all work really well. And it works for Karen, Chrissy.
Motion to adopt the financial policy?
Motion to adopt. Did you just make the motion?
I guess so.
Great, second.
Any discussion needed?
And Martina's gonna put them on letterhead and.
Yes.
Jazz. Yeah.
What? You're gonna put the policy on letterhead to make it look like a policy?
Yes.
Great.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 So done. Okay, next. Everybody knows, or should know, that when we went through the plan, we set priorities, and our priorities were, we needed to do
Which plan?
our financial plan, our budget plan for 23-24. We needed to do, number one was the Center Street project, okay? Number two on that list was to fund the comp plan with as much money as we had. We knew we were deficient when we funded the budget that time with money, but we had fingers crossed, toes crossed, eyes crossed, everything, helping to get additional grant money to come forward to the tune of, like, last one was $100,000, which we did not get, right?
We actually haven't heard one way or the other. We're just assuming at this point that we didn't get it.
Because everybody else got theirs.
Right.
Right. So we did not get the letter of acceptance. So, given that, we sat down with, Lydia, Karen, and Brandy to do a deep dive into what it would take to get us to year end, to fund it, to get the comp plan. And this will fund not only engineering, but also communication, education, website design, et cetera, et cetera.
Legal.
Yeah, legal. And we came up with, said, we anticipate that we would need an additional $50,000, right, in that line item to keep this project moving forward to the end of the fiscal year. We then went into a deep dive into our budget because we needed to figure out where to find that money. Right? We had $10,000 in the Safe Routes to School line item that was sitting there. We also had an additional, out of the $15,500 that we had in the sign item for, which was for the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit, right? We had already taken 6 out to do the study, and we reserved some money to buy the signs for that we need. There's an additional $6,000 in that line item that we could use. And we have a current balance in the comp plan line item of approximately $4,000. So that still left us short by $30,000 to fund the budget. And we really thought hard about, the general fund has been funding the comp plan from the beginning, but the comp plan really is more exhaustive than just what the general fund has to need to do, because there's aspects that have to do with our water, aspects with our wastewater. And, so it only seemed right that what we should do was also tap those budget line items for $15,000 each. So the total of that money comes up to the $50,000 that we need to fund the comp plan. So I'm making a motion to the board to modify the existing line items identified to move that money over into the comp plan line item.
Second.
Discussion.
Couple of questions. This is the first time we've tapped water and sewer. And what's our...
For the comp plan.
For the comp plan, correct. And what's our total expenditure approximately for the comp plan been?
Hold, please.
Your call is very important to us.
Your call is very important to us. We will be with you in just one
That's right.
moment. Dee, 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 dee.
I mean, you can give me a round number, I don't need a.
$132,126.79.
And that's including this 50?
Does not
that's what
include
we
the
said.
So we're talking about 180, 190.
So, yeah, it'll bring it up to about 180, 190.
Which is still fantastic.
Oh my
for
God,
what we're
That's
getting.
right.
I cannot believe that we've done
Well, it's,
this robust comp plan process on so little money, like
Well,
that
this
is.
is part one.
yeah.
Right.
Well, the comp plan part, zoning is a different issue, sort
Yeah.
of, but it is a different issue. Yeah, and honestly, in talking to the county and Michelle about this, they credit, frankly, the work of the 75 plus volunteers that we've had who've spent more than 20 hours of their time on this. And that's not even including the hundreds of hours that the comp plan committee itself has spent on this. The work that we've gotten from John Clark, they've estimated it at a $250,000 donation, just his work alone. You know, ballpark, all the rest of it, none of it's documented, but we've just received a tremendous amount of support from the community, for which, you know, we're all very grateful. So there's that. I've also reached out to a couple of other potential grant sources. So, but we're also gonna we're gonna have to make sure that we fund this for 25 for the zoning code process, which will be a whole different kettle of fish.
So
Because
just
there's more funding opportunities for
There's
that.
more funding opportunities with the state, and in general, everybody thinks that because we were already mid-flight with the comp plan,
Yeah.
that this is why we haven't gotten the state grants. And so there's a possibility that, like, once we complete the comp plan itself, take a minute to breathe, and if we go to the state with, we would like to start the zoning code process, and we would really appreciate your help with that, it's, you know, it might work better. In conversations with the state about these CFA grants, specifically the smart growth grants, they've been prioritizing communities that are, have a greater financial need than Rhinebeck, which drives me a little bananas, because we have needs too.
And I'm starting to see though, sometimes they're also making allowances for size in some of the federal grants for smaller communities, irregardless of, or without regard to
To income.
to income, but
Yeah.
for just sheer size.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. It's interesting because, you know, there's like rural communities, there's super rural communities, there's tiny communities, and there's really tiny communities, and, you know, we seem to be like, sort of with the way that we're developing, we seem to be sort of like beginning to be captured into like the Westchester blobosphere, instead of, you know, being considered an actual rural village, which is kind of a bummer. Not least of which because I don't want to live in Westchester blobosphere. But yeah, so hopefully, I mean, I'll keep doing my work. I'm in conversation with a bunch of different organizations, so we'll see.
This doesn't mean it's a gravy train ride from here to the end of the year either. This is a tight budget.
No, we're keeping it tight. We did need to give Time Bond a little elbow room, because there's just some things that Michelle especially needs to do with the committee that she'd just run out of financing to do. So we gave her a little bit of elbow room. We reserved some for design and like the actual design of the plan, because it needs to look like something. Especially because so much of it is graphics driven. She's been comparing it to sort of more of a graphic novel than like a literary novel, which is important because like you only begin to be able to see the future ideas when you can actually see the future ideas. So, you know, we'll see. And then, I mean, the idea is that this $50,000 should get us not just to the end of the year, but to the end of the actual comp plan process. And then the next step is really just the zoning code update. Just the zoning code update. But yeah. Okay.
Great.
All in favor, say aye.
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 So passed.
Great.
All right, next on the budget is to set this regular second Tuesday of the month to no longer be the second Tuesday of the month meeting schedule, right?
You skipped that.
Um,
Oh, the budget meeting.
Oh, budget meetings, I'm sorry, this is the budget meeting. I'm in the wrong line item.
Budget meeting scheduled.
I don't see that on the cloud.
Is it written down?
I have it.
Oh,
You have
great.
it? Thank you. I don't have it.
So Karen is suggesting the first one for capital projects vehicles be on Tuesday, February 20th,
What time?
5 PM.
You'll forward that?
What?
You'll forward that piece of paper to them? That email, you'll forward it?
If you need.
It was sent to all of
Yes, I
us.
need you guys to agree to it, and then I'm
Okay,
gonna put the
okay.
schedule and put it all on your
We
calendar.
talked about it.
Okay, so 2:20 at 5 PM, and then the next one?
Well, do you want to go one by one, or does that work for you guys?
2:20 at 5 PM works for me.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Water and sewer on Tuesday, 2/27, also at 5 PM.
Also works for
Yep.
me.
Okay.
The next one is kind of a jump, police and fire, Thursday, March 26th at 5 PM.
Thursday, March 26th. Wow.
Hey.
Don't see a March 26th, don't see a.
Because
I got
the
March
weeks
26th
in
is the Tuesday.
between,
March 26th is a
It's
Tuesday.
a Tuesday,
oh goodness, Karen.
at least. Someone put it off till 2025.
No, I'm sorry, yeah, that's a Tuesday because she also wants to do Thursday, the 28th.
Okay,
So the first one would be, yeah, Tuesday, the 26th
at 5 PM.
at 5 PM for police and fire.
Okay,
Thursday, the 28th, highway, environmental, and general at 5 PM.
Okay.
okay.
Total budget on April 2nd, 5 PM. Tuesday.
Okay, and we have right after that the organizational meeting?
It would, yeah, it could be the same day.
Okay.
Actually, however you'd want to flip that.
Okay.
And then, well, would it take you more than an hour?
The total budget meeting?
Yeah.
Maybe what we do is we just have both of those
Or
meetings
do you
starting
wanna
at
do-
5 PM, and then we can just have 2 hours for both of those meetings.
They have to be separate meetings.
Maybe we do the organizational
What is a
meeting.
public hearing on the budget?
No, that's not the public hearing.
When are we setting the public hearing for the budget?
That would be Tuesday, 4/9, ahead of the regularly scheduled board meeting.
So it's 6.
So
actually, I
the
Our
April 2nd is a working meeting.
is already scheduled and passed last
Right.
year.
But I mean, for the budget, it's a working meeting, not a total.
Yeah, it's not the
budget
public hearing.
Yes, so
Okay.
would you have enough time in that hour?
review. Right. If we do all the right things before.
Yeah, exactly,
Okay.
ideally.
Perfect. I didn't consider that when Karen gave me this. And then, yes, the public hearing 4/9 ahead of the board meeting.
So at,
5
so at 6 PM or at 5 PM?
She didn't give me that time, but
If it's a public hearing, we should probably do it at 6.
Yeah.
Let's do it at 6.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, is that one of those situations where we hold it open until 7, no matter what, or,
No, you can close it whenever we need.
okay.
are all those dates good, which I
Yeah.
would say
Yeah.
can't check.
Yes.
Yeah, they work for me.
Okay.
All right, so I make a motion to accept the dates presented for our workshops, including the public hearing for our 24-25 budget.
Second.
Speak now or forever hold your peace. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Done.
All right, I will get those on your calendars and I will put out a notice.
Great,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
You're very welcome.
Okay, special request, Taste of Rhinebeck.
No, reschedule second board meeting.
I'm gonna keep clicking these off and getting out of sequence. All right, yep. Now I'm on to rescheduling the second Tuesday of the month, will no longer be the Tuesday of the month. The request, we talked about this last time, the request was to move it to Wednesday because of standing meetings, because, that trustee Penny has on
Okay.
Tuesday, same time on Wednesday.
So 3:30 on the 4th Wednesday of the month?
Correct.
Okay. That works for me.
Say that time again, please.
3:30 on the 4th Wednesday of the month. The next one is
3:30.
February 28th.
For 3:30.
Right.
That should.
It's going to be every fourth Wednesday, so it's not just, don't think this is
Right.
as a
So,
month, this is
That,
forever.
that time would not work because court starts at 4 on the fourth
Oh,
Wednesday.
so 3 o'clock, could we need to have, he's available earlier.
I mean,
Oh,
Can we up it to 3?
they usually start getting ready around 3:30.
why don't we do it at 2?
Can John make that?
I don't know. Let's tentatively set it for 2, and wait for clarification.
Does that work for you, Vanessa?
Just said yes to something on the 28th. That's like, I think, a full day thing, but that's okay, it's not
Not every-
crucial.
It's not a
It's not a
recurring
regular
meeting,
thing.
so you missed one.
I'll figure it out.
Okay.
I think it works.
Work for you, Rick?
Okay.
Lydia?
Yep.
Hey, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I'm excited. Taste of Rhinebeck. It's coming back again.
I don't have a second. I don't technically have a motion.
Motion.
I made a motion.
Move the second regular monthly meeting to the fourth Wednesday at 2
I don't
PM.
even know that, I just need a second.
Who seconded it?
I'll
I
second
made
it.
one.
Thank you.
I thought you did already.
I don't know.
Okay. Taste of Rhinebeck, coming back. Everybody enjoys Taste of Rhinebeck this year. It's going to come back May 1st of 2024.
Does it usually happen in the fall?
No, it was always early in the spring. It was actually earlier, and they moved it to May 1st. It was usually more in April. I think, was it last year in May 1st as well? I forget. But it is later. May 1st is later.
I've apparently lost all sense of time. Okay, great.
So start time at 3 PM, event time at 5 PM to 8 PM. Pretty much wrapped up. Estimated people, they only sell a limited number of tickets, but they're estimating they'd like to get like an additional 750 people to
Wow.
show up for this event. Walk the streets of Rhinebeck and having good weather. This is being offered by the Rhinebeck Chamber of Commerce. Again, May 1st, Taste of Rhinebeck. It's a one-day event. Nothing for us to do but to approve.
So moved.
Seconded. Any discussion?
And it's a fundraiser for the Autism Supported Community.
Yes,
Yeah.
it will still be a fundraiser. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, we're really going to go out here. We're going to go out into the fall foliage for October. The fall foliage run is a yearly event that was being held here. There's a 5K map and a half marathon event that start here in the village of Rhinebeck. The 5K this year is going to be contained within the village of Rhinebeck and not go out into the town. The half marathon will go out into the town. So this event is scheduled for October 13th of this year. It starts pretty early. The event start time is at 8:30. It's usually completed by 1 o'clock. It starts at the Dutchess County Fairgrounds, and that's where it ends. Just to remind everybody, last year there was over 800 runners.
Yeah, it was a disaster.
It wasn't a disaster. It did raise some concerns because people were concerned about the number of people on the street.
Yeah.
So we met with the organizer, both Sergeant Dunn and our Highway Superintendent Kyle Amy and myself. We met with Matt Linick to review this, and that's one of the things we're going to change. Is we're bringing the 5K back into the village, and it's going to be an out and back loop onto the same thing, like basically from the fairgrounds up to the CLS and back. We're going to do a lot more. Matt is going to do a lot more signage about it, a lot more communication, because what we thought happened last year, we perceived that people weren't aware that the event was happening. And they drive out the driveway and all of a sudden they see this crowd of runners coming down and they have to wait to get out of their driveway and
Yeah,
everybody.
everybody along the route should be notified.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll get there.
Oh, okay.
So everybody, so what we thought was it was a matter of communication. We've asked Matt to do a mass communication to the people on the route so they're aware. which even means going door to door and handing out literature. We're gonna put up more barricades, so there's more advanced warning. We're gonna do more notices about it as well, to keep people up to date, and that way people can plan their time appropriately for this event. The other issue, most of the issues were within the town of Rhinebeck. We spoke to the town supervisor. They don't have an event code application, so they can't basically stop it, but they're in favor of still wanting to let it occur, and they're going to do the same thing, try to do more advanced notification and let people know. But they're aware and have no objections to having the half marathon go into the town of Rhinebeck.
I also spoke with Matt Linick yesterday. He did say that depending on what Sergeant Dunn would like, either the 2022 course or the 2023 5K course, and Sergeant Dunn said that he would prefer the 2022 route.
And that's all within the village, right? That's the one we agreed to.
Yes, that's the one that I attached, the
Right.
map.
The 5K.
Yeah.
So
Are they gonna-
What happens if I live on Chestnut Street and the event is on, and there are people going by and I need to leave while the
You
event
can
is
still
on?
get out. Traffic is still allowed on the street, just like it always has been.
Okay.
If there's somebody running by your driveway, we would ask that you use caution and let them get by your driveway before you jump out onto
So the
the,
streets
onto
are
the road.
not closed?
Like, the streets are not closed.
Okay.
All the streets are open for traffic. Runners are encouraged to stay along the sidelines. There'll be additional markings, additional cones going out there to help keep them within the boundaries. But, you know, runners are runners, and they're gonna, you can't, it's like herding cats. So everything's gonna do their best, but the issue was not that. The issue was people would come up to a stop sign, and they'd have to wait, big crowd of runners. We'd stop the traffic till the runners get by, and then let traffic out. And several people were just frustrated of being have to wait at a stop sign for a while. And it's not long. The major intersection was at Knollwood, where a lot of the traffic seemed to be. Sergeant Dunn was there. He was managing the traffic. There was very seldom that people had to wait more than 60 seconds to get out. So, but there is a delay. And if you're in a hurry, running late to get your kid or you to an appointment or whatever, yeah, it may hold you up for a couple seconds.
Gary, the map on the cloud doesn't seem to be the route that you described. It doesn't go down to CLS.
Which one does it, where does it go? I don't know, you pull it up.
This one goes down Chestnut,
Chestnut Oak.
Chestnut down to West Chestnut to West Market, and then
Almost
kind
to
of
like
basically back
maybe
up.
turn around at Mirabel.
Right.
Yeah, it stays completely in the north.
That is different. I'm sorry, I apologize, because the
Yeah,
one we
that's-
talked about was out and back.
Yes, when
And
he
this is the
originally
one that
spoke
Pete
with
had
you,
wants.
this is the 2022 route, which is
Gotcha.
what Sergeant Dunn would
All
like.
right,
So this is preferred by our PD.
RPD.
Correct.
It keeps it a little bit more contained. Are they willing to help offset some of the costs of RPD for this?
They always do. They cover all the costs of RPD for this event. They
Okay,
always do.
okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Oof. I don't know how to handle this.
So let's do this. I make a motion to approve the Fall Foliage Run for October 13th, 2024.
Second.
All right, any more discussion?
Hold on, I'm gonna pull up the actual half marathon map. Oh, we don't have a map. Seriously, the town has like nothing to control for something
And
like
No.
this?
that's Columbus Day weekend.
Yeah, that's normally when they have it. And the reason for the advance notification is they start taking registrations now. So it's not like we're trying to rush this through.
Are
They
they-
need it to open up for
Are they
registration.
taking the same number of are they increasing their numbers? Are they lowering their numbers? Is it the same?
It's going to be about the same. It is becoming a more popular run. Numbers have grown over time. Won't deny that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that seems to be happening kind of with all of the events in the village at the moment.
And
I would be happier if this was capped at 500 people.
not enough.
Not enough
They're
for
going to have
what?
more. They have more than that already.
Sounds like
They're
their problem,
up
not
to
mine.
over 800 runners.
Once again, that sounds like
500 between the 5K and the half marathon, not big enough.
once again, that sounds like their problem, not mine.
Not big enough.
If they opened registration before we actually gave them approval on
They
this.
haven't opened registration yet, I'm saying what's in the past.
Yeah, I know.
They have
And I'm
more than
saying that
500 runners.
I think actually capping this at 500 would make more sense. We're already dealing with this with Center Clause, 15,000 people coming to this village, we can barely handle it. Like 500 people running up and down Chestnut Street all morning long, or 1,000 people running up and down Chestnut Street all morning long. Like,
What's the
as
anticipated number?
as the village gets more popular, we need to make sure we're managing that. We can't just sort of say, okay,
And we're not. I mean, that's why we had a civic meeting to say, we need better communications.
Yeah.
We need better control over this. We need tightening of the 5K.
yeah, and I agree with all of that, and I also think that there should be a cap to the number of people who can do this. I mean, at least Porch Fest has the decency to close the roads.
And we demanded that,
Well-
because we're letting them out on the road.
Right.
I mean, that's because it is a street event, different
Right.
event.
I hear that. It's not, I mean, like, it is a different event, but like, same kind of
It's still running
idea.
in the streets.
It's still a lot of people running around in
They're
the
not-
streets.
They're not running down the sidewalks.
No, I agree. I'm not arguing that where they're running.
So the start and the finish is the fairgrounds, all the parking's at the fairgrounds.
All part of the purpose.
And we don't know how many are running the 5K and how many are running the
Half marathon.
half marathon.
I would be okay with this if we capped the number of runners at 500.
Total runners.
Total runners. They can manage it from there.
Other event format says 1,000.
It says 1,000 people. I don't know if that means runners or what.
That's runners, total between the two races.
Jeez. So that's 200 more than last year. I mean, at some point, we need to stop saying, sure, overrun the village. Honestly. No pun intended. I mean, Center Claus is massive. Porch Fest is massive. If this is going to keep increasing by 200 people a year, it's going to rapidly be massive. I would argue that it was already big last year.
So they'll let it go bigger than last year.
I don't mean to be a curmudgeon about this, but like, no, last year was problematic. And it was problematic partially because of the number of runners.
Sheep and willows the following weekend.
Sheep and Wool is delightfully well contained to the fairgrounds. I mean, we get a lot of visitors from it, but they're not all racing through our streets.
We get a lot of visitors from this too. They're not all local.
That's great. They can all eat at our restaurants when they're done running.
They do.
I'm delighted.
Pasta special.
Yep. They can bring all of their family and we can have 500 times 4, and 2,000 people visiting the village. It'll be great.
I was out of town that weekend, so I did not see this in person. Were you here during the event? How bad?
They weren't running down my street, but like, it was very clear that there were a lot of streets being overrun by runners. Especially like for the 5K, I mean, if there's 500 people registered for a 5K, that takes half an hour max. And so Chestnut Street's gonna be clogged for half an hour with 500 runners, or however many people on the 5K.
I think that kills the event, so I disagree.
Okay.
Because I think it is a wonderful event to bring people to the village of Rhinebeck for the morning of this first Saturday morning.
No, I think it's great. I just also, I mean, I'm happy to cap it at 750, but like, letting it just increase year over year because they have more people interested in it is not a reason for us to let them do that.
I think if we're gonna have a cap, we have to, I mean, it might be just to
Justify
think
it?
about
Right.
how would that apply to other events? You know, we just said yes to Taste of Rhinebeck, that's people walking around. I mean, mostly
Seven-
sidewalks, that's
750
750.
Yeah, and they're on the sidewalks.
Yeah.
And they're obeying the traffic signals. They're not-
Right.
Yeah.
They're not like
It's on
racing each other.
timing,
It
right?
seems
It's
like
on
they're
time.
not actually in a
Right, they're not
race.
timed.
Unless, you know, we're all racing to one restaurant, but.
I don't know, I'm wondering what the appropriate number is. I
Yeah.
agree, there should be a cap.
I don't really know what the appropriate number is either, but I do think having some kind of boundary is important here.
Yeah. And I realize that as a business person, there's probably a threshold under which it doesn't make sense to have it here
For
anymore.
it to be viable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that, especially if they're gonna have to spend money on more signs and
Yeah.
communication outreach and all the rest of it. But, I mean, is it worth going back to Pete and sort of saying, Pete and the organizer, and say, you know?
Pete didn't have a problem, by the way, he
no,
approved it.
Pete's
So-
delightful. Whatever we ask him to do, he figures out a way to make safe. God love Pete, right? He does it every year for Center Claus.
The organizer was hoping that you guys would have this settled at this meeting, because the longer he waits, the more registration people he loses.
Sounds like his problem, not mine. I mean, I don't mean to be a jerk about this, but like, we have become an incredibly popular tourist destination, and unless we start managing it somehow, it's going, like, we've already received complaints from the people who live here about how quality of life on certain days plummets through the floor. And I think it's our responsibility to balance that.
How
I'm
about,
willing to go back to and ask for, how about, let's compromise on 800 for this year, and see how,
I'm cool with asking for an
Yeah.
800 cap.
Yeah, like, if it was 800 last year, and this year we're putting in all of these like new things, then
exactly,
like, let's see how that works with all
Okay.
of the new things.
I think that's right.
I'm willing to go back. So let's
Okay.
make a motion to approve the event for a cap of 800 people.
Second.
Any other
Such a
discussion?
compromise.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we'll let you, if he disagrees, we'll let you know.
ASC committee members.
Yeah, Martina, I didn't bring the list up with me. Do you have it?
No, you sent it to me in an email.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought it was all up here in the cloud.
That's okay.
Let me go search my email. Hold on. Oh, you're quicker than me. Okay. I'd like to make, here are the new ASC, I'd like to make a motion to approve 3 new autism supporter community members. Franca Giola, Lisa Nicotra, and Dr. Scott Schaefer to join the autism support committee.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I need now the probationary fire department, Martina. I don't have them either.
I'm grabbing that too.
I don't even have an email on that one.
She just sent it to me. Erica Wheeler, the rescue lieutenant for our fire department, notified me that Elena Airstock is going through her background check, and they would like to approve her as a probationary member to the fire department.
Roby.
Second. Oh, so moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
Wonderful.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You know, the fire department actually has a lot of teenagers in it at the moment, which is kind of awesome. And
Okay.
Kyle Amy's father was given an award for 65 years of service to the fire
Wow.
department, which is just like, and he's only 80. So it's like, he's been in the fire department since he was 15 years old, which is just like, makes me so happy. Okay, sorry, moving on.
Lydia, preliminary discussion on property tax exemption.
Oh, right. So I had a really interesting and long conversation with the town assessor, Jennifer, over at the town assessor's office, about the senior exemption and the disability exemption for property taxes. The town raised their limits to $43,300. And if we raised ours to match that for both senior and disability, the assessor, because the town's already done it, she has a good idea of who actually qualifies for that, because they've all already applied to the town, and luckily we're in the town, so.
Right.
she thinks, I mean, I sent around the math to you all, but basically the bottom line is that it would redistribute, you know, $4 million of assessed value to the rest of our community, which would raise, you know, say last year, our tax rate by about a penny, which on a $500,000 assessed value for a home raises the tax bill by about $5. So I thought it was worth having her come and present to us in our next evening meeting, and potentially update our numbers. Currently, our numbers end at $36,000. We limit the elderly exemption to $36,000. The disability exemption is actually really unclear in our code, and at the moment, nobody takes advantage of it. So cleaning up the disability exemption in our code, increasing our elderly exemption to $43,300. And
It's prorated though, right?
it's prorated, yeah, it's like, it's 50% under, I think it's like
Huge table,
$29,000, and then then you get 45% off if you're under $31,000. There's a big table. So it's actually like, if you're at like $43,200, then you only get 5% off. And that way it's not like this massive gap between having and not having it. And I believe it matches the county numbers, and so it sort of brings everyone up to the same amount. And given that, you know, we're all sort of trying to balance everything when it comes to burdens, it seems like something that's worth having a more fulsome discussion about. And the problem is that in order to have it effective for the tax bills that go out in June, we have to pass it by March 1st. So
Okay.
that's why
Which means we gotta do it next month.
which means that we have to do it next month.
I really agree. We probably should have her come in and do a presentation at the main board meeting.
Yeah.
Because anything that has to do with taxes and.
No, it should be discussed in
Yeah.
a group that's larger than
And
this.
just
Yeah.
for background, this is AGI for adjusted gross income
Yeah, I believe so.
for an individual, or for is it indexed to a family, or is it just per person or per property?
No, you're right. See, these are questions that we should talk about.
All right,
next
there you go.
month.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, because I realized it looks like it's per
The issue
property, but
Rick, the issue today is you have the appetite you want to do
yes,
this.
we should definitely
So
take a look
rather
at
than
this.
get into the details and scrub the question is, should we, you know, kind of bring ourselves up to the standard of both the town and the county for our tax exemptions and understand the impact to our tax, right, and how it spreads that tax now out across the remaining individuals.
Right, so
Okay?
basically, it was actually a fascinating conversation with the assessor. So basically, we have like $1.3 billion of assessed property value in the village of Rhinebeck. Of that $1.3 billion, only like $950 million of it is actually taxable. So that's like the hospital, the churches,
Yeah.
whatever else is not taxable. And so this basically moves $4 million from that off of our taxable rolls, and so that's sort of how the math tumbles out, and so it's just that's spread out amongst the other folks who pay property taxes in the village.
So between now and then, I would like Jennifer to meet with Karen and have the two of them kind of work the numbers.
Right, it doesn't impact the overall number that we raise or
No,
can
no.
raise, it just impacts who pays for it.
That's right.
Of that.
And then, so we can very articulately explain how it gets spread out, okay? And how much is being spread out based on the information that we have.
But are we voting right now to invite her to come and present?
No,
It's not a vote, it's more just like,
Is if you have the appetite, if you guys say yes, 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 we're just gonna move ahead.
Oh, yeah.
There's no vote,
Okay.
okay, great, then I'll talk
we're
to
not
her.
voting to do it.
Yeah,
No, voting to have her come.
You don't need a vote.
Yeah, just, we'd like to do that.
okay, great, I will talk to her about that. Fantastic, great. That's it.
That's it, that ends our meeting. I'd like to make a motion to close our second Tuesday of the month meeting. Thank you all for coming.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Another meeting at 5.